What if I told you that one of the greatest horoscopes ever described in Vedic astrology belongs to someone who spent much of his life in exile, lost his kingdom, was separated from his wife, lived away from his children, fought endless battles, and rarely enjoyed a peaceful family life? I am talking about Lord Rama. His horoscope contains 5 exalted planets, something that is extraordinarily rare. Yet his life appears filled with hardships. Does this mean astrology is wrong? Or have we misunderstood what an exalted planet actually means? Today we will analyze Lord Rama's horoscope from the perspective of Vedic astrology and compare the planetary combinations with the major events of his life. Please note that this is an astrological interpretation based on the traditional chart attributed to Lord Rama and is not intended as a definitive historical claim. The traditional horoscope is as follows: Ascendant is Cancer, Moon is in Cancer, Sun is in Aries, Mercury is in Taurus, Venus is in Pisces, Mars is in Capricorn, Jupiter is in Cancer, Saturn in Libra, Rahu in Sagittarius, and Ketu in Gemini. Just look at this chart. 5 exalted planets. Most astrologers may never encounter such a horoscope in an entire lifetime. One would naturally expect immense wealth, perfect happiness, lifelong success, and freedom from suffering. But did that actually happen? Let's find out. Cancer is ruled by the moon, and people born with this rising sign, ascendant, are usually compassionate, protective, emotional, caring, dutiful, and family oriented. On the positive side, this perfectly explains why Rama cared deeply for everyone. He respected his parents, loved his brothers, protected sages, cared for ordinary citizens, and even strangers trusted him immediately. However, Cancer is also one of the most emotional signs, which means such people experience both joy and sorrow intensely. Throughout the Ramayana, Rama openly expresses grief. He weeps when separated from Sita, mourns Lakshmana when he falls unconscious, laments the loss of Jatayu, and is emotionally moved by the suffering of others. Ultimately, a strong moon creates deep compassion but also deep emotional sensitivity. The moon is in its own sign, which brings immense popularity, kindness, emotional intelligence, and love from the public. Everyone loved Rama. The people of Ayodhya cried when he left. Guha became his devoted friend. Shabari waited years just to meet him, and Hanuman dedicated his entire life to Rama. On the other hand, a powerful moon also means a highly emotional mind, and unlike the image of an unemotional warrior, Rama frequently expresses sorrow in the epic. His emotional nature is one of the defining features of his character. Jupiter exalted in Cancer. This is among the strongest positions for Jupiter, signifying wisdom, righteousness, morality, compassion, respect for teachers, and protection of Dharma. This is why Rama became known as Maryada Purushottama, the ideal man who upheld righteousness even at personal cost. However, here lies an important lesson. An exalted Jupiter does not necessarily make life comfortable. Instead, it strengthens one's commitment to principles. Because Rama never abandoned Dharma, he accepted exile without rebellion, honored his father's promise, and made difficult choices that caused him personal pain. His greatness came not from avoiding suffering but from choosing righteousness over comfort. Sun exalted in Aries. The Sun occupies the 10th house, producing leadership, royal authority, worldwide fame, honor, and a lasting legacy. Rama became the ideal king, and his reign is remembered as Rama Rajya. However, the Sun also represents duty and responsibility, and the higher one rises, the higher the burden becomes. As king, Rama was expected to place the welfare of the kingdom above his personal happiness, which eventually led to one of the most painful decisions of his life, the separation from Sita in response to public criticism, proving that his loyal duty overshadowed his family life. Mars exalted in Capricorn. Mars is exceptionally powerful here, giving courage, military genius, fearlessness, and victory over enemies. This is why Rama defeated powerful adversaries such as Tataka, Kara, Dushasana, Vali, Kumbhakarna, Indrajit, and Ravana. However, a strong Mars also ensures that life is filled with conflict. Instead of enjoying palace comforts, Rama spent years in forests and battlefields, and nearly every major chapter of his life involved warfare. Even his married life was interrupted by conflict. Venus exalted in Pisces. Venus represents love and relationships, and its exaltation gives devotion, purity, loyalty, ideal love, and respect toward one's spouse, which is why Rama and Sita are still regarded as the ideal couple. However, exalted Venus does not guarantee uninterrupted marital happiness. In Rama's life, love was repeatedly tested. He lost Sita to abduction, underwent separation after the war, and later lived apart from her again, making his marriage a symbol not only of love but also of sacrifice. Saturn exalted in Libra. This may be the most misunderstood placement, as exalted Saturn gives discipline, endurance, justice, patience, responsibility, and humility. Rama accepted hardship without complaint, treated everyone equally, and remained calm under immense pressure. But Saturn is still Saturn, and it represents separation, delays, suffering, renunciation, and loneliness. This placement beautifully explains many hardships: the loss of the kingdom, exile, forest life, separation from family, sacrifice of personal happiness, and carrying enormous responsibilities. Saturn did not weaken him, it made him endure suffering with dignity. Mercury in Taurus. Mercury governs communication and intelligence, and Rama spoke gently, built strong alliances with Sugriva, Hanuman, and Vibhishna, and inspired loyalty. However, Mercury alone cannot win wars, and even the greatest king requires trusted advisors and capable allies, which is why Hanuman's role was indispensable. Needing help is not a sign of weakness, it reflects effective leadership. Rahu in Sagittarius. Rahu in the sixth house is often associated with overcoming formidable enemies, and despite facing powerful opponents, Rama ultimately prevailed. However, Rama also brings unusual or controversial situations, and one example often debated is the killing of Vali from concealment. Whether one views this act as strategically justified or ethically questionable, it illustrates how Rahu can coincide with actions that generate lasting discussion and differing interpretations. Astrology alone cannot determine the moral judgment of that episode, but Rahu symbolizes circumstances that challenge conventional expectations. Ketu in Gemini. Ketu brings spiritual detachment, and Rama never clung to wealth or power. He willingly accepted exile and ruled without attachment to luxury. However, detachment often comes through separation, and his life repeatedly involved letting go of what he loved most. Now comes the most important question. If five exalted planets could not prevent suffering, what exactly do exalted planets do? The answer is profound. An exalted planet does not promise an easy life. It gives extraordinary strength to express its own nature. An exalted Mars gives courage but also battles. An exalted Saturn gives endurance but also through hardship. An exalted Sun gives kingship but also immense responsibility. And an exalted Jupiter gives righteousness but many painful sacrifices to uphold Dharma. Strength is not the same as comfort, and greatness is not the same as convenience. Lord Rama's horoscope teaches one of the deepest lessons in Vedic astrology. A powerful horoscope does not remove life's challenges. Instead, it gives the strength to face those challenges with courage, integrity, patience, compassion, and unwavering commitment to one's principles. Perhaps that is why Rama is remembered not because he never suffered, but because he never abandoned Dharma while suffering. And that may be the true meaning of an extraordinary horoscope. If you enjoyed this astrological analysis, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think exalted planets promise happiness, or do they simply give us the strength to fulfill our life purpose? I would love to hear your perspective. Thank you. Bye bye.